It is time for Mayor Monday. The Beaverton State of the City address is happening tonight, and the mayor is ready to lay out her goals for the months ahead.
The speech is going to be held at the Patricia Research Center for the Arts, and joining us live with a preview of her State of the City address is Beaverton Mayor Lacey Beatty. Good morning.
Good morning. I just want to point out that last time changed, you also had me on for Mayor Monday, so this is our thing now.
Well, yeah. You get extra credit then for coming in on an hour less sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's become a tradition now. Before we get to the plans for the State of the City address, just talk a little bit about the venue where you're having it, the Patricia Research Center for the Arts. That has really been an important addition of Beaverton, hasn't it?
Oh man, it is exactly what we thought it would be. A community gathering place, a place for different styles of events. And it's hard to believe it's only been a year since we cut the ribbon on it. So I'm excited to have my first in-person State of the City there tonight.
So what is on the agenda as you look to the year ahead? What are some of the biggest priorities for Beaverton?
You know, a couple of our top priorities this year is really, voters 2 years ago decided to change our form of government from strong mayor to city manager. And Portland's going through a similar process, but they're taking 2 years to transition their government. We took 2 months. So this is really the year for us, the year of stabilizing, getting our process improvements in place, making sure everyone's on the same page. We're also climbing out of a bit of a fiscal deficit. We're running currently about a $10 million deficit. So for us, this is the year of stabilizing our government. We're kind of calling it the year of the boring, but the reality is we got to do this hard work for our community for a more prosperous future.
Let's talk about development in Beaverton, including the downtown loop. Just talk about some of the big development projects that you've got ongoing in the city of Beaverton right now, looking towards the future.
I would say if we were going to call this year anything, it'd be the year of the partnership. Everything we do in local government requires every level of government working together. The loop is no exception. We got $2 million of federal funding to plan this. Only 3 cities in the state were awarded this federal planning grant. And Congresswoman Bonamici, our congressional woman, gave us $4 million to do a demonstration project, to put us in line for more future funding for this project. And again, this is something Beaverton could never do on its own. It's going to create wide sidewalks, bike lanes, protected bike paths, places for pedestrians to walk. We have 2 federal state highways that intersect this part of Beaverton. We want to focus on the pedestrian experience, and the loop and the planning grant and Congresswoman Bonamici's direct funding is going to help us achieve that.
One of the things that Beaverton is not immune to, we see it in communities all across the Northwest, is affordable housing being in short supply and homelessness being an ongoing issue. Where do things stand in your community?
We are not immune to those problems either, and I want to thank Governor Kotek for shining a light on this problem. It's signaling that every level of government needs to prioritize this. Here in Beaverton in 2022, we broke ground on 2 major affordable housing projects, one with 168 units, with 81 of those units dedicated just to seniors, and another one with 75 in our fastest part of the city in South Cooper Mountain. And I would say with homelessness, we are about a year away from breaking ground on our year-round shelter. We'll be Washington County's first city to accomplish that. It will house 60 adults, and it will give people a place to recover and make sure that we're doing the right thing. And just recently, we sent 8 city staff members, along with some regional partners, to the Bloomberg Institute at Harvard to work on street outreach in our downtown core. We have an ambitious goal of reducing our visible street homelessness in downtown by 80% in the next 6 months. And we're developing the tools and the partnerships to do that.
You talked a little bit about going to a city manager system in Beaverton. How does this affect the rest of the city council in terms of how you set goals and priorities?
Well, this puts the elected officials in the policymaker seat. We set the strategic vision for the city, and the city manager's job is to implement that vision. And so I would say, having served on city council and now being the mayor, the kind of nuts and bolts haven't changed very much. The main difference is we have a professional city manager in place to run daily operations, somebody that's trained, who spent their career doing this work.
Well, we know that folks in Beaverton who are interested can find out a whole lot more tonight at your State of the City address. Beaverton Mayor Lacey Beatty, thanks for joining us ahead of time.
Thank you for having me. Always, it's a pleasure.
And again, Beaverton's State of the City address happening tonight at 6 o'clock at the new Patricia Research Center for the Arts. Stay up to date on what's happening in cities across the area. Just go to KOIN.com and click on the AM Extra tab.